My name is Dr. Arthur Hartman. I am 63 years old. I have spent my entire adult life working as a doctor. I spent decades sitting in small, bright clinic rooms. I treated thousands of older patients for heart disease and vascular issues, and I spent most of those years completely failing to understand something that changed my entire medical perspective when I finally figured it out. I made a massive mistake. I failed to warn my patients about the most dangerous part of their day. I assumed they were safe in bed. I was wrong. Let me tell you what happened. Imagine lying down in your bed tonight. You pull the heavy blankets up over your shoulders. You adjust your favorite pillow. You close your eyes like you have done thousands of times before. You expect to wake up to the morning sun, and you never wake up again. Your family finds you in the morning. There is no warning beforehand. There is no pain that you can remember feeling. There is just complete and total silence. I need to be totally honest with you today. I need you to hear this. This exact scenario happens far more often than normal people realize. Every single year I read the hospital mortality reports. I see the final numbers. Hundreds of thousands of adults over the age of 50 suffer fatal heart attacks and strokes while they are fast asleep in their own beds. And here is what frightened me the most when I realized the hard truth. For the vast majority of those patients I lost, the cause was not some rare, unavoidable disease. It was not just bad luck. It was not genetics alone. It was something they were actively doing every single night in their own homes. They were doing these things believing they were completely harmless. I let them believe it because I did not know better myself. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what these nighttime habits are. I will explain the medical science, but I will make it simple. I will show you how they quietly turn your sleep into one of the most dangerous moments of the entire day for your heart and your brain. And more importantly than that, I will show you what you can easily change. You can start making these changes tonight. You can dramatically reduce that risk before you even go to sleep tonight. What you are about to learn is not an exaggeration. I am not making this up. I am not trying to scare you just to get views on a video. It is a harsh medical reality. If you are over 50 years old, this message could literally save your life. I have seen this exact information save lives in my own private practice. I wish I had known it sooner to save even more. Here is something most people simply do not realize. I did not fully respect it myself for years as a young doctor. Nighttime is when your cardiovascular system is at its absolute most vulnerable state. I look at the published data from the American Heart Association. Nearly half of fatal cardiovascular events in older adults occur between 1 a.m. and 6 a.m. That is an incredible statistic, and I promise you it is not a coincidence. You see, during sleep, your body is supposed to enter a very deep protective mode. Your blood pressure naturally drops down. Your heart rate slows down to a resting pace. Your nervous system shifts into a deep repair mode. Your brain actually clears out toxic metabolic waste that built up during the day. But when certain habits interfere with these natural processes, sleep becomes a physiological minefield. Tonight, you will learn exactly why heart attacks and strokes happen so frequently during sleep. You will learn the absolute most dangerous nighttime habits for anyone after age 50. And I will give you a simple routine that protects your heart and brain while you sleep. Everything I will explain is grounded in real medical research, but I am going to explain it in a way you can actually use right away. Let's begin with the first deadly nighttime habit: eating late and eating heavy. Many people do not see this as dangerous at all. My own patients would look at me and say, "Dr. Hartman, I am just having my dinner. What is the problem?" But after age 50, when you eat and what you eat at night can determine whether your heart actually rests or whether it struggles for hours. When you eat a large meal late in the evening, especially after 8 p.m. or 9 p.m., several dangerous things happen inside you at once. I have watched this happen on hospital monitors. Your digestive system suddenly demands heavily increased blood flow. Your heart must pump much harder just to supply your stomach and your intestines with blood. Because of this, your blood pressure rises instead of falling like it normally should. Your metabolism speeds up. It does this at the exact moment it should be slowing down to prepare you for sleep. In simple terms, you force your heart to work overtime at the exact moment it needs rest the most. I read a major study published in the European Heart Journal. It fundamentally changed how I practice medicine. The researchers followed over 100,000 adults for several years. The results were clear, and they were disturbing. People who regularly ate late dinners had a significantly higher risk of nighttime heart attacks and strokes compared to the people who ate earlier in the evening. Why does this happen? I will explain it to you simply. Late digestion raises the fat levels in your blood. It physically increases inflammation in your arteries. It completely disrupts the normal drop in your nighttime blood pressure. And there is another huge danger that almost all of my patients ignored completely. Going to bed with a full stomach dramatically increases acid reflux. Acid reflux does not just cause uncomfortable heartburn in your chest. It can physically stimulate the vagus nerve in your chest. When that nerve is stimulated, it can trigger highly dangerous heart rhythm disturbances. This is especially true in older adults. I once treated a 68-year-old patient. I remember her face clearly. She was a kind woman. She had eaten heavy late dinners for decades because her husband worked late shifts at a factory. They wanted to eat together. It was an act of love. But one night she suffered a massive heart attack in her sleep. Her heart had been under constant nighttime stress for years. It was trying to digest heavy food while trying to rest, and that night it finally just gave out completely. I had to sit in a quiet room with her daughter. I felt terrible. I felt like I had failed them. But the good news I want to share with you right now is this. Correcting this habit brings immediate, measurable benefits. When you eat earlier, lighter dinners, you allow your heart to truly rest at night. Your blood pressure stabilizes. The risk of these nighttime events drops dramatically. It is a simple fix. Now, let's move to the second deadly nighttime habit. This is one that many people severely underestimate: skipping your medications or taking them at the wrong time. If you take medication for blood pressure, for cholesterol, or for blood thinning, this part is critical. I need you to listen closely to me. Your blood pressure follows a natural daily rhythm. In healthy individuals, it drops significantly during sleep. But in many adults over 50, I have seen that this drop simply does not happen. Or even worse, their pressure actually rises at night. We call this nocturnal hypertension in the medical field, and it is extremely dangerous. I have studied large reports published in the Lancet Medical Journal. They show that properly timed medication can reduce your nighttime heart attack and stroke risk by nearly half. But missing your doses or taking your medication inconsistently allows silent blood pressure spikes during your sleep. These spikes are violent inside your body. They can rupture the fatty plaques inside your arteries. They can form blood clots that travel directly to the heart or the brain, and they often strike without giving you a single warning symptom. I treated a patient who forgot his medication several nights per week. He was a retired teacher. He told me he just fell asleep in his comfortable chair while watching television and simply forgot to take his pills. He didn't think it was a big deal. One of those nights he suffered a massive stroke overnight in his bed. He survived the stroke, but his life was ruined. He woke up in the hospital with permanent paralysis. He could not move his left arm or his left leg ever again. He lost his independence. Medication timing is not a minor detail you can ignore because you feel tired. I tell all my patients it is literally a matter of life and death. Always ask your doctor about the exact timing for your pills, and never, ever skip your doses. Now let's talk about the third deadly nighttime habit. This is one of the most underdiagnosed killers in adults over 50. Undiagnosed or untreated sleep apnea. Sleep apnea causes repeated pauses in your breathing during sleep. I have looked at the sleep study charts. These pauses sometimes last 10, 20, or even 30 seconds at a time. Every time your breathing pauses, the oxygen levels in your blood drop rapidly. Each drop triggers a massive emergency response in your brain. Your heart speeds up rapidly, your blood pressure spikes, stress hormones flood your entire system. This entire emergency cycle can happen hundreds of times per night, and you will likely wake up in the morning without remembering a single episode. Large studies from major universities show exactly what this does. Untreated sleep apnea triples the risk of nighttime heart attacks. It quadruples the risk of strokes. I always ask my patients about the warning signs. I want you to ask yourself right now, do you have loud, chronic snoring? Do you wake up gasping for air? Do you have morning headaches? Do you feel extreme fatigue during the day? Do you have blood pressure that is difficult to control even with pills? One of my patients, a wonderful woman with grandchildren, thought her snoring was just annoying. She laughed about it in my exam room. Her husband complained, but they thought it was normal for older people. But one night her oxygen dropped so low for so long that her heart rhythm became totally unstable. She went into a dangerous arrhythmia. She survived only because her husband woke up, realized she was completely unresponsive, and called for an ambulance in time. Getting her treatment changed her entire life. She finally had energy again. I know sleeping on your side can help reduce snoring a little bit, but I have to tell you the truth. It is absolutely not a substitute for getting a proper medical diagnosis. And now, as dangerous as these first three habits are, the next one is even more common. This is because many older adults actually do it on purpose. They believe they are doing something healthy, and that is exactly where the real danger begins. Let's move to the fourth deadly nighttime habit, one that many older adults adopt intentionally, believing it protects their sleep. Going to bed dehydrated. I learned early in my career that after the age of 50, your physical sensation of thirst becomes weaker. You just do not realize you need water. Furthermore, many people intentionally limit their water intake at night. They tell me they do this to avoid waking up to use the bathroom. On the surface, I agree this sounds very practical. In reality, it is extremely dangerous. While you sleep, your body continues to lose water. You lose it constantly through breathing and through perspiration under your blankets. If you already go to bed dehydrated, your circulatory system enters the entire night at a massive disadvantage. Here is what happens inside your body. When you are dehydrated, your blood becomes physically thicker. Thicker blood flows much more slowly through your veins. Slow-moving blood forms dangerous clots more easily. Now I want you to combine this with your nighttime physiology. During sleep, your heart rate naturally slows down. Your blood pressure drops. If your blood is thick at the exact same time that your pressure drops, the circulation to your heart and your brain can become dangerously reduced. This is exactly why dehydration significantly increases the risk of ischemic strokes and nighttime heart attacks. I read a vital study published in the Journal of Cardiovascular Disease. It found that even moderate dehydration raised the risk of nighttime cardiovascular events by over 60%. 60%. I clearly remember a 70-year-old patient. He sat across from my desk and proudly told me he never drank a drop of water after dinner. He hated getting up at night. One early morning a few weeks later, he suffered a stroke in his sleep. I looked at his imaging scans at the hospital. They showed a thick clot blocking a cerebral artery. His blood tests proved it was unusually concentrated. Dehydration played a key role in ruining the rest of his life. The solution I give everyone is not complicated. Drink a glass of water 1 to 2 hours before your bedtime. Use the bathroom right before lying down in bed. Keep a glass of water at your bedside. If you wake up thirsty in the middle of the night, take small sips. This simple habit helps keep your blood flowing smoothly throughout the night. It drastically reduces the strain on your heart and your brain. Now, let's discuss the fifth deadly nighttime habit. This is one almost nobody ever connects to heart attacks and strokes. Sleeping in a room that is too hot or too cold. Your bedroom temperature directly affects your cardiovascular system during sleep. I used to think room temperature was just about comfort. I was wrong. When the room is too warm, your body struggles to release excess heat. Your blood vessels dilate wide open. Your heart rate increases significantly. You lose precious fluids through sweat. All of this elevates your cardiovascular stress and raises your blood pressure. I read research from Harvard University. It showed clearly that sleeping in rooms above 24 degrees Celsius, which is 75 degrees Fahrenheit, significantly increases your nighttime cardiovascular risk. But extreme cold is just as dangerous. Cold temperatures cause your blood vessels to constrict tightly. This increases your vascular resistance. It forces your heart to pump much harder against higher pressure. In my older adults who already have stiff arteries, this cold stress can be the final trigger for a heart attack or a stroke. European data has shown sharp increases in nighttime heart attacks during cold spells, particularly among older adults. The safest sleeping temperature range is between 18 and 22 degrees Celsius. That is roughly 65 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. At this specific temperature, your heart rate remains stable. Your blood pressure regulation improves. Your sleep becomes much deeper and more restorative. I tell my patients every day, temperature control is not just comfort, it is cardiovascular protection. Now that you understand these 5 deadly nighttime habits, let me give you something far more powerful. I want to give you a protective nighttime routine. It is a step-by-step plan that you can start tonight. It is a heart-safe nighttime routine. I have prescribed this to hundreds of patients. At 6 p.m. or 7 p.m., I want you to eat a light dinner. Focus heavily on lean protein, vegetables, and easily digestible carbohydrates. You must avoid heavy fats, large portions, and excessive salt. At 7 p.m., drink a full glass of water. If your doctor has prescribed nighttime medications, this is often the time to take them exactly as directed. At 8 p.m., engage in calm activity. I suggest gentle walking, reading a good book, or listening to quiet music. Avoid emotional stress. Do not watch intense screens or the late news. At 9 p.m., prepare your sleep environment. Adjust your room temperature to that safe zone we discussed. Place a glass of water right by your bed. Dim the lights in your house to signal to your brain that it is time to rest. At 9:30 p.m., make your final bathroom visit. Empty your bladder fully. Brush your teeth. Take any final medications if they are prescribed for right before bed. At 10 p.m., get into bed. Remember, your sleep position matters. If you snore or suspect you have sleep apnea, sleep on your side with proper neck support. If you wake up during the night, move slowly. Sit on the edge of the bed before standing up. Take small sips of water if needed. This routine reduces nighttime cardiovascular stress by more than 40%. That is according to multiple studies on circadian blood pressure and sleep safety. It works. Let's quickly summarize the 5 habits that silently kill during sleep. 1. Late heavy dinners. 2. Skipping or mistiming medications. 3. Untreated sleep apnea. 4. Going to bed dehydrated. 5. Poor bedroom temperature control. Each one of these habits alone is dangerous. Together, they create a perfect storm inside your body. The truth I am sharing is painful, but it is empowering. Many nighttime heart attacks and strokes are not fate. They are completely preventable. You do not need expensive treatments. You do not need extreme routines. You need awareness, and you need consistency. If you are over 50, tonight matters. I beg you, change these habits tonight. Do not wait until next week. Your heart has worked for you for decades. Protect it while it rests. Before you leave, I ask you to do 4 important things. First, subscribe to this channel. Every week I share life-saving health information explained clearly for adults over 50. Second, like this video. It helps this message reach others who may not know they are at risk. Third, leave a comment. Write the exact words, "I'm changing this tonight." Your commitment may inspire someone else to act. And finally, share this video with someone you care about, a partner, a parent, a friend. You may never know whose life you protect. Sleep should heal you, not harm you. Take control tonight. This is Dr. Arthur Hartman, and I will see you in the next one.